Ever feel blocked, uninspired, or like your emotions are too big for words? What if, instead of forcing a poem into being, you could invite it to express itself? In this video, I'll share a ritual-based process I developed to help you do just that. It's a little esoteric, yes, but deeply effective. Plus, some practical poetry craft tips along the way. So whether you've been writing for years or you're just getting started, this guide is here to help awaken the poet within you. If you're new here, my name's Nathan Hassel. Welcome to the Poetry Vessel. These are some of the best practices I've learned from leading workshops, my time as Malibu Poet Laureate, and when I obtained a master's in creative writing. To get the most out of this video, watch it through first to let the ideas settle, then on your second pass, pause as needed, grab your writing tools and practice each step alongside me. How to write a poem, an easy guide. In this video, you'll learn how to approach poem writing by ritualizing your practice, discovering inspiration, and implementing best practices to complete your poem. If you already have a writing ritual or a way to find inspiration, feel free to share it with us. It might spark something for someone else. And no matter your perspective in your poem, if it's first person, third person, or otherwise, the true heart of it often springs from some deep personal discovery. So where do these sudden bursts of insight come from? Poetry flows from the deepest wells of our minds, bodies, spirit, intuition, sometimes even from a mystery beyond anything we can really fully comprehend. Think of it as an imaginative treasure trove, overflowing with stories, vivid images, raw emotions, and moments that you can profoundly shift your consciousness. So how do we tap into this? The first step I advise is to declare your openness. Say it aloud or in your mind or jot it down or all of the above. I'm open to whatever insights emerge. You speak, I transcribe. This simple act helps create the perfect conditions for poetry that can lead to transformative breakthroughs. And deep insights often come when we quiet the internal noise in our minds and listen closely to something deeper. The real magic happens when your deeply personal explorations connect with the wider human experience, giving others insight through your unique journey. Create your sacred space, the ritual of writing. In our constantly distracting world, finding focus can be tough. That's why creating a ritual space can be essential. The Jungian analyst Robert A. Johnson notes that ritual sends a powerful message to the unconscious. It shows that you're taking your process seriously. By ritualizing your poetic practice, you not only signal openness to a deeper part of yourself, but also cultivate the conditions for the art to emerge. Here's how to create a sanctuary that can help transformative poetry flow. Cleanse your immediate area. Simply clearing your writing surface can profoundly calm any mental clutter. Tidy your desk or room, open a window, and make your space as comfortable as possible. Consider your lighting. I like to light a candle and ensure there's natural light by day or soft light by night. This signals to your deeper self that you're switching into the imaginative mode needed for poetry. Music. I seek out ambient music, which helps me access dreamlike thoughts. I recommend choosing music without lyrics, like lo-fi, atmospheric, classical, or natural sounds, so that those lyrics don't affect your ability to find your own language. Invoke a scent. Our sense of smell connects deeply to memory and emotion. A specific aroma can bring you into an elevated creative state and help induce an altered state of consciousness. Disengage your device. This is non-negotiable. Silence all your notifications, better yet, turn off your phone and use a notepad or paper. If you're writing on a computer, disable the Wi-Fi and only look at a document. Once your space is ready, write down or say to your deeper self again, whatever you want me to know, I will write it. You are showing your unconscious mind that you're ready to listen, just as you would to a trusted friend. Be prepared. Your thoughts may shift and swirl in new ways after this preparation and declaration. Right, Now we're going to get to the writing. Open the floodgates stream of consciousness and observation. Now your space is prepared, it's time to start creating. Begin by simply observing. Take deep breaths and open up your awareness without judgment and allow your thoughts to gather and slow naturally. After a few breaths, try this simple meditative exercise. Direct your gaze around your immediate environment. What is the quality of the light? What subtle sounds enter your awareness? What textures present themselves to your touch or sight? What scents register? What lingering tastes reside on your palate? Are there memories or subtle impressions stirring in your mind, heart, gut, or any of your other body parts? Spend the next 3 to 5 minutes scribbling everything that enters your consciousness, whether from these observations, memories, associations, or whatever arises. It doesn't matter how fleeting or seemingly nonsensical they are. If you write quickly, without judgment, and challenge yourself not to lift your pen off the page. At this stage, the goal is not quality, but quantity. When you're done, you'll discover precious nuggets from your stream, unexpected images, startling connections, and moments that grab you emotionally. So by now, you have the raw material. It's time to learn how to refine it. Sensory details and show don't tell. Okay, now you've got those initial images, connections, and emotions from your stream of consciousness. So let's transform that raw material into something visceral for your reader. This is where we're going to bring those initial observations to life through sensory language. So go back through your stream of consciousness and circle or highlight any words or phrases that appeal to any one of the 5 senses. As you review, ask yourself, sight. What did you write that shows seeing? Beyond the colour, what was the quality of light? Were there particular shapes, sizes, or movements? Sound. What suggests sound? Was it faint, whisper, jarring speech, low, resonant thrum, the ambient music perhaps? What unique quality does it have? What in your writing evokes scent? Is there a rich aroma of damp earth? Is there stale coffee? Is there honeysuckle? How does it make you feel? Pull that out as well. So now you've got all those initial images, connections, and emotions from your stream of consciousness. So let's take that raw material and turn it into something more visceral. So this is where you take all the initial observations, but pull out things that are to do with the senses: sight, sound, taste, smell, and touch. After you've taken the parts of your stream of consciousness out that reference these senses, I want you to write into it further. By that I mean, if you said something about there being a damp aroma rising from the earth, I want you to take that and write more about it. Don't be afraid to invent or imagine details if what you've written is linked to a memory that can enhance the atmosphere or the emotion or the narrative that you're exploring. Again, at this stage, it's important to avoid overthinking. Stay open to your intuitive side and just let your senses guide you. Beyond the obvious, simile and metaphor. So sensory detail builds the foundation, but similes and metaphors can help bring fresh, surprising insight. These powerful tools can help us render the unseen visible and make the abstract more concrete. Though theories vary, metaphors and similes work by linking seemingly unrelated elements in our consciousness, revealing deeper connections between things, often using language. Our brains naturally understand and interpret the world through metaphor, and we can invite our readers to see the reality through our unique and often surprising lens by creating these connections. So simile uses like or as to create a comparison. Its strength lies in the unexpected nature of that comparison. An example? Her laughter was like broken glass. This jolts us because laughter is usually suggestive of joy, but here it hints at sharpness or fragility. Metaphor is a direct equation, fusing two seemingly unrelated things without using like or as. For example, the fog was a hungry cat creeping on silent paws. This makes the fog and the cat the same thing. They're each active, stealthy, kind of predatory. So here's an exercise. To practice metaphor, start by writing a single noun in the middle of a blank page, maybe a word from your stream of consciousness exercise. Let's say you choose fire. Then list metaphorical associations across sensory boundaries using the phrase, fire is a. For example, fire is a lake. Fire is a hole in the stomach. Fire is an idea leaping. And you can make these as weird as you like. So play with these unexpected juxtapositions. The more surprising and specific the comparison, the more it will stick in your reader's mind. But remember, there has to be some sort of associative logic there. So let's look at an example from an Emily Dickinson poem. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. This metaphor gives hope a strange grounding. The idea of hope as feathers perching in the soul is a blend of the physical and the abstract. The metaphor does more than just describe, it transforms, it allows the soul to have a physical embodiment. The music of words, sound devices. Poetry can go just beyond its meaning. Its power lies in the very sound of words. Even without using traditional rhyme, language inherently has its own music. You might even hear that when I'm speaking. These sound devices act as the nuanced instruments in your poem's unique orchestra, adding texture, rhythm, and subtle emphasis. So let's go over a few terms. Alliteration is the repetition of initial consonant sounds. Here's an example. Slippery, silent, snakes. The S sounds are alliterative. Assonance, repetition of vowel sounds. Example, the deep green seaweed weaved. Here all the E sounds. Consonants, repetition of consonant sounds anywhere in the words. An example, the pitter-patter of little feet. Here all the T consonants. Onomatopoeia, words that sound like what they describe. Example, the kettle hissed, the fire crackled, the clock ticked. These devices can help sculpt the rhythm, draw attention, and give your poem a rich, tactile feel. The goal isn't to force jarring sound effects like a sudden crash and a bang and a wallop, but to let the language trickle deliciously into the reader's ear. When it comes time to read your poem aloud, notice where the music in it emerges. Where could you subtly introduce sound to enhance emotion or atmosphere? And where does the music not quite work? We'll get to that in the editing section shortly. Let's look at a sonically rich example of a poem. Here's an excerpt from Gerald Manley Hopkins' Inverness-Aid. This darksome burn, horseback brown, his roll rock high road roaring down. Here Hopkins uses consonants and alliteration in horseback brown, rolling, rock, and roaring, which mimics the tumbling force of the movement of the horse. That was an accidental rhyme, but we'll go with it. So Hopkins typically he uses deeply immersive imagery, but sound becomes the force that pulls you into the world. I highly recommend looking him up because he is a master of using sound in his poetry. The art of the line break and transformation. Now we arrive at where a poem's physical form becomes part of its meaning. A line break's not merely just where a line ends, it's an intentional moment. It controls the poem's pace, it can signal emphasis, and it creates space for ambiguity, emotional shifts, and revelations. Think about how line breaks shape rhythm and emphasis with this simple example. Without a line break, the rain fell slowly drip by drip. With a line break, the rain fell slowly, drip by drip. The first reads with a rhythmic, hurried, meditative flow. It's kind of a more of a lingering presence on the page. The second breaks the line before drip by drip, which changes the rhythm a lot and gives sharp focus to the individual drop. That's one of the powers that the line break has. So I want you to turn to your own writing, revisit your stream of consciousness or earlier draft and ask yourself, where do I want the reader to pause? Can I make a double meaning by breaking the line here? And when you do break the line, ask yourself, why have I broken the line here? Is it effective? Other questions are, what word or phrase needs to be spotlighted? Where does the rhythm of the poem want to breathe? Think of line breaks as both scalpel, where you're cutting, and spotlight, because you're focusing on the word that ends the line. Let's explore this idea through a stanza from Kindness by Naomi Shihab Nye. Before you learn the tender gravity of kindness, you must travel where the Indian in a white poncho lies dead by the side of the road. You must see how this could be you, how he too was someone who journeyed through the night with plans and the simple breath that kept him alive. Nye controls the reader's experience line by line. The line break after white poncho leaves us momentarily with a soft, almost serene image just before the stark reveal shatters it. Lies dead by the side of the road. That pause builds emotional tension and amplifies the meaning. And then these lines, who journeyed through the night with plans and the simple breath that kept him alive. Here, the line break after plans suspends us. We expect something big to follow, but what we get is actually something small and aching, the simple breath. That is transformation, life reduced to its quietest essence. So when you revise your poem, keep this in mind. The end of a line is a point of emphasis. The beginning of the next line can carry the momentum. I'll give you another term. Enjambment, which is continuing a sentence without pause but using the line breaks. This can create flow, surprise, and subtle tension. Enjambment. As I'm putting forth the argument that poetry is an act of transformation, the line break is one of those tools that can signal the transformation on the page. So it can be a shift in emotion, a new idea, a spiritual turn. Your lines can mirror the very change that the poem is enacting and that you are feeling while you're writing the poem. So when I write, I'm constantly listening for that inner moment, like when a line doesn't just express something, but it changes something. That's the moment you're looking for too. Often it can live where you choose to break the line. Polish your gem, editing and revision. Let's dispel a common myth. No poet, however seasoned, conjures a flawless poem on their first attempt. Not often anyway. While some might claim to only write a first draft, the chances of a good poem emerging without any edits are almost zero. Editing is where your poem truly comes alive. Even better, think of it as revisioning. The poem is a vision, and revisioning is a profound act within the creative process. Many emerging writers shy away from editing their first draft because they want it to remain raw. Yet this perspective, however well-intentioned, can be extremely limiting. Imagine sitting at a grand piano, striking a few initial notes, then declaring that burst your complete symphony. So editing is precisely where some of the most potent work happens, because now you have language already formed, ready to be reshaped and refined, rather than having to just stare at a blank page. This stage lets you identify where meaning is obscured or where cliches can be transformed into more urgent, unique, and compelling language. So here are some indispensable revision strategies. Read aloud. This is probably the most crucial tool. Does the poem flow naturally? Do any phrases jar the ear? Do you stumble over particular sequences? If you read it aloud to someone else, would it hold their attention? The why test. For every line, even word, ask, does this earn its place here? Does it serve the poem's purpose? Does it amplify the meaning or the emotion I'm exploring? If not, cut it. My rule for removing a beloved but misplaced line is if it pulls the reader out of the poem's immersion, it's probably best to remove. You can save it for later or a different poem, so not all is lost. Tighten your language. Look at where you're using unnecessary adverbs or too many adjectives. If your voice is passive and it doesn't fit, and again, if there's any tired cliches, ask if you can express the vision you're having more vividly and concisely with fewer words. Ensure coherence. Are your images constantly serving the poem's vision? Does the tone shift unintentionally? Does it disrupt the emotional flow, or does it feel natural in the world that you've built in the poem? Cultivate fresh eyes. The art of stepping away. Finish a draft, then consciously set it aside for a day or two. You can return with a fresh perspective and you'll probably see things that you didn't see before. You can also seek feedback. You can share your work with a trusted reader. You can ask focused questions like, does this line resonate clearly? Or what emotion does this poem evoke for you? Remember, genuine feedback is a gift. It allows you to refine it. If someone just says, I don't like it, whatever, throw it in the trash, then, it's probably not all that helpful, unless it really should be thrown in the trash. That's up to you. Poetry's not just craft. It's daring, it's lifelong, there's deep discovery, there's fierce observation, and it can offer you continuous transformation. Every time you sit down to write, you open the door to new ways of seeing yourself and the world. There's no one formula, no right way to write a poem. The poetic path is yours to blaze again and again. So commit to this journey with courage and curiosity. Keep experimenting, listening, and inviting your unconscious to speak. Your unique voice is waiting to be expressed. Each poem, carve out a space where new realizations can manifest themselves, and always work on your craft. The question isn't if you'll grow as a poet, it's how far you're willing to go. If you found these tips helpful, you can join the Poetry Vessel mailing list. It's in the description box below. Also, let us know in the comments which tip you found most helpful. I'd love to know. If this video sparked something in you, you'll love my How to Write Poetry Masterclass. It's the video coming up now, so click it. And see you soon in the Poetry Vessel.